Welcome to the Exposer. So guys, we know that right now Spac Nation under serious investigation for many different things, and recently we heard about the bleeding for seed and all these things, but I found a video of a young man who I've exposed a live video from him before in the past, where he mentioned how Mariam, who is his leader, would encourage him to give a ridiculous amount of money. So I found another video of this young man. This is like a video he done on a personal account, so he never thought that anyone would ever see this video apart from the small amount of members that are following his account on Periscope. So in this video, there's quite a lot of confessions. You will hear bleeding for seeds. You will hear him idolizing PT. You will hear him talking about doing the most ridiculous things to raise money, and how they can encourage people who come to Spac Nation to stay or to give. So it is a very deep video. So I would encourage you guys to see it for yourself, and then make a judgment of what you think he's really talking about. But you will hear him talking about bleeding for seed quite a lot in this video.
You see in scriptures where it would say Jesus would preach a message, but only so many would actually get it. A lot of people would just fly over their heads and then they would leave out. Listen, when PT is speaking, the exact same thing is happening. And I'm not even talking about the thing where people are just jumping up and screaming at some revelations, but then sometimes you don't catch it. I'm saying it's a thing, yeah. If you've been in the word and you know you're in the word, if all the word is inspiring you to do is literally just to say, okay, at the end of the week, I'm just gonna crash. If that's all it is, then you're not hearing the word. And it was something I had to check my heart, because I was like, I deeped it, yeah. When PT's speaking, I'm not seeing like just a man of God speaking. I'm seeing God is speaking to us. Like more time, I can't even be doing a thing where I'm on my phone and that. Like I'm actually seeing it as God is speaking to us live. Oh, like I have to listen with everything. When he's speaking, yeah, you like, you deep heavens are speaking to us. If all you're getting from God Almighty, all you're hearing at the end is all you're hearing from 2 hours of word. All you're hearing is go and crash yourself just so you can hit target this week. You're not hearing the word. You've just been doing this because you're a line leader now. You have a line, you want to crash, you want to do all this stuff. But when he showed me this thing yesterday, when I was out here at like 2 a.m. and I was standing besides all these tall buildings, all these lights on, like I was asking myself, I was like, how me, these little, fam, it's my own scope, but let me snitch off small, like these little jobs, these little drugs that we're doing, it won't compete with what we're going up against. We're going up with a system that's been about, and it's like, until our seed, yeah, until it's a thing, we're bleeding for this. I'm talking about bleeding, do you get? Bleeding for this thing. We're not gonna be taking the places we're meant to. Like, we in the Love House, yeah, we have about 3-4 engineers, and I was literally thinking to myself, why is it that, look, for me, like, you now have Enam that's following you, you have this guy that's looking up to you, and he's looking up to you from an engineer's perspective. Like, you're not gonna win this guy by saying to him, like, you know what we were like saying, like, oh yeah, I'm able to raise this smart seed. That's not what he's looking for. Some people are looking for that. We know him as an engineer, that kid is thirsty for something. He's looking for a way to get out of the system he's trapped in. We're not gonna sit and share with him about our stories of how we jug. That's not how we're bringing him into the nation. It's a thing, our sacrifice for this engineering mountain, our sacrifice for this thing. That's how we win this guy. Like, seed, it's not look, I'm just saying to Fumi, but I know I'm chatting to myself really and truly. We can't be doing this thing where it's just end of the week targets. Do you know what we're up against? Do you know how evil the person we're up against is? I swear to you, he will have no problem. You see your friend, yeah, you see your friend that's depressed. He has no problem keeping her in that bondage. It's not, he doesn't care. It's a thing. The word we should be feeding that girl, yeah, that's what's gonna liberate her. And if our mind is just 5 bills at the end of the week, a bag at the end of the week, like, we've missed it. We're not hearing the word. PT said it yesterday, yeah, when he gives, yeah, he gives out of faith. He doesn't give as a result of saying, I've got access to this much wealth and let me show God how much I'm willing to give. No, he says, God, you have entrusted me, PT, just me, a normal guy, you have entrusted me with generations. But like, God, get me to a level where my seed, I'm bleeding for my seed, because I know I'm a sower, but this, I haven't been sowing. I know in my heart I haven't been sowing like that. Like, there's a level of bleeding. Like, God has opened my mind to nations again. He's opened my mind He's opened my mind to nations and what I'm sowing for. And it's not, I was even saying, yeah, like on a true one, innit? I've been on for a minute. I was saying to myself, on a true one, yeah, like I'm not even giving on a thing where I say like I'm just trying to buy it into the nation anymore. It's actually, PT's awoken something in me, and it's like I'm giving because there are nations that God has entrusted me with, and I'm just giving is my only way of saying thank you. Like, you'll know if you're hearing a word, if your mindset is governed by, I'm just gonna be real. For mine, yeah, mine was just hitting target at the end of the week. It was like, how am I gonna hit target? I would do it, but God, you've delivered this whole uni into my hands. Deep, a university, you know, that's thousands of students year in, year out. That's shaping leaders, and I know God's delivered it into my hands. But to produce a mighty seed for you, like that's my only way, and that's the way PT gives. You're not giving just to buy it in. Your seed buys you in, but listen, what good is it buying into a company if you're bringing no value to the company? You need to know that this seed thing is deep. My seed, it must be my blood coming from. Look, obviously, you don't know. Man will crash myself. It's not a thing, but it's like, God, my seed, unless I know I'm bleeding. Let me tell you something. I know when I'm bleeding. A lot of times in the past, I've hit target, but I know I haven't bled. It was a light thing. I've hit target. I've even helped other lines, but I didn't bleed. There's a seed that I'm sowing now that is gonna cost me my blood, and it's gonna be more than finances. It's not just gonna be a financial seed. It's a seed that I'm gonna sow. I don't know what it is yet. I'm praying. I want to know what it is. That God, what is it gonna cost for you to actually entrust me with this thing, with these sheep, with this education mountain? I'm like, God, I know I'm going up against some mad stuff, but I've seen my father do it and overdo it, so I know I can as well. But it's like, what is it gonna cost me? That's where my burden for seed is coming from now. It's not coming from targets. It's not even coming from like trying to please my leader. Nothing like that. It's deep now.
It's very sad because you can see how brainwashed this young man is. He is really being trained by the Spac Nation leaders who are above him, people like Mariam. They have really brainwashed this kid, and he's really doing the most desperate things to try and impress his leaders. It's not even about the work of God. He doesn't even understand how deep his mind's heavily involved with this whole Spac Nation thing. This is a young man who's doing things that he feels like is inspired by what PT does. He tries to talk like PT. He tries to act like PT to a certain extent on how he breaks down things, and what he's really saying is the most ridiculous things. He's just trying to find ways of influencing the people who are watching this Periscope to basically sell their soul to this organization, because he has clearly sold his soul to this organization. This is a young man. He's not even finished uni. It's a young man who's confessed in the video in the past that he's given at least 1K every month. He said he doesn't even know how he's doing it because he doesn't even have a side job or anything, but he's finding ways to raise 1K and to give every month. And he's also a line leader, and he even said something by saying you don't give just to be part of the organization. It's deeper than that. And you heard him mentioning you have to bleed for the seed. Bleed. We know that he can't openly sell on a Periscope selling donating your blood for money, but we now know what he means by that. This is a guy that when he says he'll do anything to get his seed done, this is what he means. Anything necessary. If he's not raising enough money through the members, the people under him, part of his line, then he has to basically encourage them to go and donate. Same thing that he probably has to do himself as well. And we've also heard that we've heard his mentor. So the woman that's above him, that gives him instruction, we know is possibly the most craziest person in Spac Nation. So if his mentor is Mariam, you can only imagine what this kid has done for her to make him a line leader. Instead of focusing on his studies, this is what he's doing. And he doesn't know this because his mind is really being damaged by this woman. He doesn't even understand what he's doing this for. That's the most scary thing about it. He believes it's the word, and he mentioned PT is God on earth. So when PT is talking, to him, it's Jesus himself talking. That's how he sees it. It's quite ridiculous, to be honest. It's very frustrating to see that someone can be so brainwashed to that extent, where they're literally selling their soul to a bunch of crooks. He's spiritually damaged, and it's so easy to spot it because the kid himself finds it hard to explain why he's giving. I can't understand how anyone that's supposed to be part of the church will say that I will bleed for seed. You're not even bleeding for Jesus or bleeding to help people who need blood. You're bleeding for seeds, and we know what seed means to these Spac Nation people. It's ridiculous. You will never bleed for your own mother. You won't bleed for your own brother. But you're bleeding for a guy who is extorting you and a guy that's left you in debt before you even finish uni. You're already in debt with student finance. But you're now in debt also with loan companies. You're in debt with other people because you're encouraging young people to give money and telling them that you're going to pay them back in installment. So can you imagine the amount of debts that these people have accumulated? And that's one person. But it's just sad to see a young man that's so passionate and so happy about what he's doing. He doesn't understand that people that he's encouraging to do the same thing, he's part of them damaging their life. So he's very responsible. And this is something that it might be too late for him to try and fix. So this video is to encourage him to actually go to Jesus himself, like pray, like read your own Bible and try and have a personal relationship with God, and stop letting your mentor, who everyone can see is crazy, stop letting her dictate your life. Because when Spac Nation is no longer there, what's going to happen? You're going to come out and tell everyone that you were under the influence, but then the authorities will say that you were old enough and wise enough. So guys, please, this is the time to walk away. This is the time to save yourself instead of accumulating more debts, because we know that behind the scene, you guys are being pressured to raise like you have never raised before while your leader escapes to Nigeria. But what's going to happen after? Are you going to abandon your studies at university to go to Nigeria? These are questions that some of these young members need to really ask themselves.